Growing a Healthy Child, where we help busy parents grow healthy kids with less stress and more joy.
Every parent knows having a sick kid in the house is very stressful. It can dominate the entire landscape of what happens at home. Today, we're going to dive into what it takes to keep your kid healthy with Chef James Sant. Welcome to Growing a Healthy Child, the podcast that helps busy parents grow healthy children with less stress and more joy.
Hi, my name is Meryl Fury. I am a registered nurse and I am president and CEO of Plant-Based Nutrition Movement. I have somewhere between 3 to 7 children. I adopt other people's children. So, the count varies depending on the day. But that is totally my jam, is working with children and trying to keep them healthy.
Yeah. My name is Carrie Bruno. I'm a pharmacist, a health coach, and a board member for Plant-Based Nutrition Movement. And our mission is to help you, busy working moms, raise healthy kids. For us, that all starts with delicious food that nourishes growing minds and bodies. Our commitment is that your family thrives and everyone lives their best life, starting now.
So picture this. There you are. Your kids are going to school, or maybe they're going to daycare. And within the first 2 weeks after a summer break or after any vacation, they get sick. They come in, they are starting with the coughing and the all of it. And in short order, you're probably starting to get sick too. They wind up, maybe they recover in about, 7 to 10 days. Some kids actually get sick again after another 3 or 4 week stretch. It's exhausting. It is so hard to keep your energy and your focus as the grown-up in the room when your kids are sick. It just sucks the life out of you. Not only that, it makes you worry about their health and their well-being. So today we are going to jump right in with James Sant, a wonderful chef that another person I met online. I mean, the world opened up when everybody went to going online. And he is an expert in culinary medicine, really keeping people healthy, live foods, giving us the best of what we can get out of the garden and out of growing fresh fruits and vegetables. Yeah. So welcome, James Sant. We're so excited to have you here.
Thanks. I'm very excited to be here. And this is right up my alley. I love all of this. The reason that I am doing what I do today is because I healed myself from a very bad accident and discovered the power of living foods and food as medicine. And when I was 48 years old, I decided I'm going back to school. My kids were in college at the time, and got a culinary degree in plant food, in whole food, plant-based, predominantly raw, even living foods as it pertains to healing, and went on to become a director of Living Light Culinary Institute and one of their lead instructors for the last decade. And that institute is no longer there, but 2 years ago, I started a new institute to take its place, and it's fantastic. I have over 3,000 students from all over the world that are tuning in to learn how to use food as medicine for themselves and their families. So it's a wonderful mission, and I love what I do.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your story. You said that you healed yourself with raw food. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. In a nutshell, I'm an artist, and no, I'm a culinary artist, but I was a visual artist. I owned a large gallery, the largest clay gallery, probably on the west coast of the United States, up in Bend, Oregon, with a 1,200 square foot pottery studio next to it. And that's what my life was being a visual artist for many years. And I was helping out another artist that had hired me on to paint some stuff for her. She was an art to wear artist that was making these incredible silk kimonos. And she was one of the number one in the country, if not the world, at making these really high-end stuff. But I was brought in as a painter. I studied painting and sculpture in college. I was hoisting up these 6-yard long pieces, about 3 of them, of fabric that were fully saturated with dye. I had been block printing and painting them all day in a pulley system. And we had moved to a new studio, and the person that had put in the pulleys didn't put the mollies in the wall the right way. And I heard a pop, pop, popping sound, and my hand was around the rope. And because the fabrics, which were almost to the ceiling at that time, started coming down, and they weighed more than me, all of a sudden this arm shot straight up and I was taken off like Superman towards the ceiling. And as I looked up, the machinery and all the mechanism was coming down and hit my head and took it that direction, while my arm was ripped that direction. So I collapsed my C5, 6, 7 vertebrae in my neck, tore up my supraspinatus muscle between where it connects in the middle of my back and over my shoulder in 3 different areas, tore my rotator cuff open. I was a mess. Needless to say, I couldn't move. I couldn't move either arm without excruciating pain, because those vertebrae in the neck are right where the main nerves come down your arms.
Right.
And I was at the mercy of Western medicine, and I don't like that place. I had raised my children to be healthy on their own. We had figured out through homeopathy and naturopathic methods everything we did with our kids. They weren't the type that were running to the doctor to get antibiotics every time they had a cold or something. We found healthier ways to deal with those things, unless it was something really serious, like an ear infection, where, you know, you always listen to your doctor in more serious cases, but many times none of that is necessary. So I'm not one that would lean towards that as a way to heal. And they wanted me on like 5 different medications after this accident at the hospital, you know, Lyrica for nerve stuff and sleeping pills so that I could get some sleep, because I could not sleep. I was in so much pain, anti-inflammatories, you know, and then painkillers, really high level, like OxyContin, weird stuff. This is, you know, quite a while ago when they're still using OxyContin. And I couldn't think straight, literally couldn't think straight. And finally, I got my girlfriend to bring over a laptop. I couldn't even use anything. My arms wouldn't work. And started doing some research as I was coming out of this fog of these drugs. And I told her, Becky, get me off these drugs completely. I can't even think. And I had already agreed, and I didn't know it, to having a neck fusion surgery.
Wow.
I was that drugged out that I don't remember the conversations with my own doctors. Well, once I came to my senses, I canceled that, number one, because living in a place like Bend, Oregon, which is very athletic and outdoor, I knew many people had had mountain biking accidents or rock climbing accidents and stuff, and started the path of fusing their spine. And it's a one-way journey into just being very stiff and not being able to move your head anymore, especially if you're doing it in your neck. So if there was any pathway to getting that surgery out of the path of healing, but actually healing, that's where I wanted to go, you know, because my body was my life. I was a visual artist. If I can't use my arms, if I can't use my body, I'm done.
Right.
You know, I thought I have to figure this out. So the first thing I wanted to do was get rid of the painkillers and anti-inflammatories. I discovered that, you know, edible THC, then this is way ahead of, now it's all legal. This is when it was not legal, but I had friends that showed me how to make that for the pain so I could sleep. For the anti-inflammatories, that's where this all happened. Is that, and those are powerful drugs that I hate. And that Lyrica weird medicine they had me on for nerve stuff was just flipping my brain out. But I went in and did a deep dive on the science of what's going on in your body that creates the inflammation. And it's that same inflammation that leads to heart attacks, diabetes, hypertension, all the different things. That's when your body isn't in that 7.365 pH zone that it loves to be in. Body wants to get there. All kinds of weird stuff starts happening. But if you can artificially get it there while you're healing from an accident, because most of us run acidic, especially with the Western diet, you will expedite your healing because you're not going to swell as much. And swelling doesn't help. It's an indication that there's an injury, like when you have an elbow injury or something and it gets all swollen. But if you have perfect pH balance, you'll see that the swelling is far, 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 far less. And the nerves that need to reconnect and the tissues that need to reconnect to heal the right way are not pulled apart by all the swelling. And so everything heals faster and you're done quicker. That's what happened to me in the long run when I discovered that the fuel source coming in has to be totally alkaline if you want to hit that mark. And so that's raw. all the produce from nature as we get it is alkaline, and then we start cooking it into acidic states, basically. And I didn't even know what the word raw food meant, but so the mission continues to show people that food can be medicine, but it all starts inside here, whether it's an adult or a child. That balance, that pH balance, and what is going on in your own immune system is paramount to how any kind of, whether it's a little cold your kid gets at school, or they sprain an ankle falling off their bike or whatever, it's all going to heal faster if you have more natural sources instead of processed standard American food as your main source of diet.
Yes, totally, totally.
So your first defense is to take that leap and that commitment as a parent of, I want to, and it's a big change. It's not a little change. We're not talking about something small here. And I know this could be seem drastic for some people, and some say, well, it would be too expensive. Not necessarily. I can show you how, that it doesn't have to be expensive, but it's just decisions you make.
Yeah.
So I have another question for you. I see you have some greens on your countertop there.
This right here.
Yeah. Yeah.
As a
Tell
hard
us a little bit about that. Are you interested in doing a cooking demo for us?
This is a Genovese. Yes, I will do a little explanation of one of my favorite things, because, and this is a perfect place to start, it starts with the seeds. That's where it all starts, everything. And once you've sprouted it to life, whether it becomes a fruit, a vegetable, and the grains we eat, everything, it starts with the seeds. And this is a perfect place to start with kids. And they love it. They love growing things. If you've ever planted something with a kid and watched their eyes as they see that little bud coming up out of the soil and opening up and coming into a plant, it's just like, it's like there's just things going on all over in their brain, and it excites them so much. Well, these happen so fast, is you could put a stop action little camera on them and just literally watch it grow. They grow so quickly. This one is basil, Genovese basil on the outside, and amaranth in the middle.
Oh, wow.
And these are microgreens. This is my little bin of planting stuff. This is the trays that I use that are so simple and easy. And this is so easy to do with kids. It's just really simple and easy. And you can use soil in these, but I don't do that. It can be really dirty in the kitchen, especially when you're working with kids, to be using soil. This was planted in soil, but you don't have to do that. Now they have these, I have them up in a bin up on top, so I'm not going to pull them down right now, but made out of the skins of like young Thai coconut, the outer shells.
Right.
They call it coconut cure. You can put that in there. You can buy this bamboo cotton kind of fabric that you can lay down in there. It's all these things that once they're soaked hold water, and that's all seeds need to sprout. They don't really need to be sitting in soil. That at that early stage, everything they have that's becoming the sprout you're going to eat is in the seed. So it doesn't rely on the soil for the nutrition yet. Okay, so if you want to do it cleaner, there's even cleaner ways. These are easy to get. And the nice thing about these trays, because we all have busy lives, they have a reservoir in the bottom, so you can put water down in here, and the little roots that start coming down from your microgreens as they grow get watered without you having to sit and water them constantly, so they don't ever dry up. And it makes it really easy to keep them watered while they're growing. And you're just going to put this over. And the reason I like these is because I'm all about getting kids into the soil. And if you have a garden at home, I say, yeah, go get them planting stuff in the garden. But many people live in food deserts in inner cities and stuff that don't have, and they live in high-rise buildings or whatever. All you need is a window. And even if you don't have a window, you can get very affordable lights, grow lights, and you can just create a place in a bookshelf somewhere where you have little batches of microgreens going.
I noticed too that when I go to the grocery store and I'm looking at microgreens or sprouts, they can be kind of expensive.
Yeah.
What you're saying is to grow them is next to nothing.
Yeah, and they are a powerhouse of nutrition. I mean, just off the chart, because the microgreens that these are going to grow into, that little sunflower sprout, that's only this tall when you're going to trim it off and eat it in a salad. It's delicious, but it's got enough energy and all the power to become a 7-foot tall sunflower. with big sunflowers on it. And you think about all that power, all that life force energy in each one of those little sprouts you're cutting off and putting in the salad. That's why it's a power food. It has an amazing amount of nutrition in it as a young plant that has been brought to life by you. And now you're going to make it into food. So, but that's microgreens, and those are fun to watch grow in, planted with kids, which is great. And then they get into the next adventures, which is salad making and all these other things. So start with the seeds. I'm always about that. And it's just fun for the entire family. Once you get into this, even mom and dad will love it because it's just really fun to do kitchen gardening. I'm all about it. And then on that same level, there's one other growing thing we can do with kids, and that's every time I'm just curious naturally. And so whenever I was opening things like avocado or mango, and you take your chef knife and run it around and you got to pull that pit out. And then I'm like, well, what am I going to do with that? And I'm always wanting to do something with it. My daughter, by the way, has an avocado tree in her house in Bend, Oregon that is over 20 years old, that she grew started when she was a child from a pit like this. This is one that I planted on the day that Arlo was born. So this is about a year and a month old. Because I remembered that Hannah had planted one and so I started this one right when she had her baby boy, that same day that he was born.
Okay, so I have a question. Teacher.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yes.
So I have grown avocados from pits before, but not every pit seems to grow. I don't know how you were able to just say, okay, I'm going to grow this on the day this little guy was born, because that's pretty magical.
I started 3. And this is the healthiest one. And there's a lot of tricks to growing avocados. When they first start up, you can see there's this little nub right here. This was even taller than this because they'll grow really spindly and tall.
Yes.
And then I know it seems terrible because there's all this beautiful green on it, but you have to take scissors and just cut it off. And you'll see these little nubs right under it. And this one that came up is one of those other nubs that was there. And you do that a few times and it makes it grow thicker at the base and not all tall and spindly. And it will keep growing out these little knobs on it. In fact, so on this one, you can see this one was really tall and it was just out of control. And I had some wood sticks holding it up and I thought, nah. So I just went in and went snip and cut it last week. And it already just went whoop, and starts sending out. And these ones here popped out. So it's going to start bushing out and growing thicker. That's how you get them to, you just have to be kind of merciless with them. And it seems like, oh, I'm cutting off all the green. But no, if they have a good root base going, they just keep spitting out and becoming thicker. And then you get this nice, even if it's growing inside. Like Hannah's has hers in Bend, Oregon, where you can't grow avocado outside, obviously.
Right.
And she's a big, beautiful avocado tree that wraps up and around her whole dining room.
Oh, wow.
So
do they actually produce avocados?
What's that?
Do they actually produce avocado?
They will. But it can take a long time, and some do and some don't. I don't know, maybe Hannah's too far north because hers never has. But I have talked to people that had them in sunrooms in California where they actually do start producing after like 5 years.
Wow.
Maybe even longer. It does take a long time. Even in avocado orchards, trees don't produce right away. They have to, it takes years to get a good orchard going.
Yeah.
Well, if I could guarantee that I could grow an avocado tree, I would do that because I love those.
Yeah, I do too. I do too.
That, and I wonder about like pollinating. Do the flowers need to be pollinated to grow them?
And that could be the key, is that you need more than one, and maybe even two. In some species, you need different varieties to cross pollinate to get good stuff. I don't know enough about that, but I know that I can grow them.
Yeah, very cool.
They're fun, And it's just because I put them in the compost outside, and there was always these avocado trees popping up all over in my compost outside.
All right.
And, my stepdaughter in my second marriage brought one of them in and planted it, and I thought, we could just start that in the kitchen too. So we just started doing that as well. So then I thought, well, why not with a mango? Can't you do that? And I did have to Google that because there's, that flat, when you cut it down both sides, you actually have to kind of let it dry up a little bit, wash it off, and then use a little plier thing to take off the outer coating of that. And inside there's this zygote kind of thing that you can then put into soil.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it will grow into a mango tree.
Oh,
And
wow.
this is a mango tree. So, and this is the kind of thing that kids just love, you know, and this thing they were eating as a mango is now a tree growing in the house.
Nice.
And, you know, I'm too far north to plant this outside, but I'll just keep upsizing it in pots.
Right.
And it can get as tall as it wants as long as I've got enough ceiling room for it to go. And the kind of thing is they stop at the size pot you have them in, you know. So if you want them to get super big, you put them in a giant pot and they'll keep getting taller, but they kind of stall out. And as long as you're giving them some nutrients, I use seaweed plant fertilizer, which they just love.
Okay.
But you can, it's easy to do that. These I started from Meyer lemons. Someone gave me some incredible Meyer lemons. And I thought, I wonder if I can sprout, because they were so delicious. I thought, can I sprout these seeds? So I did it. And I've got like 8 of them because I sprouted a bunch of them to see if it would work, and they're all growing.
Nice.
Wow.
And these I actually can put outside. I know people even over here in Mendocino area in California coast, as long as you put them on the south side of a house and they're getting hot sun reflected from the house, they'll produce Meyer lemons. But the point is, get the kids excited on any level. Whenever there's seeds, like look at them and think, can we plant that? And why not?
Yeah.
Google it, because there's all kinds of things on YouTube about how to propagate, and that's how I learned the seeds and what to do to get them going and get them healthy. Kids love that stuff, you know, and it just makes the kitchen a teaching space as much as an eating space. And the old paradigm is that the kitchen was a chore space where mom was feeling overworked because dad wasn't helping. This is the way it was. It's what I grew up with. You know, and the kids are running around bouncing off the walls because mom gave them too much sugar anyway. And she's screaming and there's, you know, and it's just like, and the energy is not good that's going in.
No.
You know, not only is it standard American junk food coming out of the covers, and, you know, it is what it is. And it's not that I'm not a healthy adult. But I grew up and my mom was a product of the 60s and a working mom. And we had Chef Boyardee cans and macaroni and cheese and potato chips and a lot of crap that I had to detoxify out of once I got to college and away from that kind of thing and redefine wanting to be healthy.
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
And it could have started earlier. And I don't fault my mom for that. My mom was an incredible mom and was doing what she knew to do from Women's Day magazine and from everything that she was reading about a professional woman in the 70s that, you know, she was, you know, a legal administrator of one of the biggest law firms in Anchorage, Alaska, and had a very professional career and stuff. But this is the things they just showed us how to do in order to make it quick, fast, easy, you know, and so it all was kind of a part of the liberation of the family, this junk food thing that kind of grew out of more people getting to work and both people working. And now it's time to step back from that and say, wait, we can't let the corporations and profits decide the health of our family.
Yes.
Yeah.
And yeah, there was some good to it as far as looking for expedience and ease in feeding a family where both parents are working. I don't fault it for that. And we're in a capitalist country, so people went and made money on it. But unfortunately, those people in the positions of how to make that stuff addictive so that we would buy more and more and more and make profits didn't give a hoot about our own health.
They've done a
And our
very good job
children's
at that.
Yes. And in fact,
So,
you know, we have these conversations a lot about impact of the addictive quality of
Mhm.
food. So you
Exactly.
probably heard just not long ago, it was January, the American Academy of Pediatrics came out with their first set of guidelines for how
yes.
to manage obesity in children, right? Amazing. So now, if you're a 12-year-old and you are considered obese, say you're, you know, really high height for weight, you're at the 95th percentile on that growth chart, they can offer you weight management medications.
Mm-hmm.
You're 13, they can offer you bariatric surgery.
Yeah. Ugh.
is really something.
Ah,
I
that
know.
drives me
I
crazy.
know. I
Those
know.
solutions drive me crazy because send them to my course. I will
Right?
get everyone on
Send them to
track,
the produce section.
Yeah.
Just,
Yes.
a lot
Yes.
of these kids are
Yes.
going to their pediatricians, and the pediatricians were, raised by the same mom you were, same mom
Mhm.
I was,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And in medical
Yeah,
schools, pediatricians don't get any education on nutrition, period.
exactly.
So
And
they are learning, and they're teaching their kids and their patients the same things that our parents learned,
Yeah.
exactly.
it's a craft.
And they don't get that training at all, right? It's in all the medical schools. Where's the
Right.
nutrition classes?
There are
Yeah,
not.
there are none. I can tell you.
And I've
Yeah.
been involved in projects that look at that, that
Mhm.
there's actually projects out there trying to get this more into the education of the doctors. And we have to lobby hard, though, to get that happening. And, well, one of my favorite people that is a book I think that is paramount for anyone taking this journey. And I'm actually going to come up with a course that will be coming by the end of this next year, where families get on live with me, like I did with you in
Yeah.
our course, and make food with me
Yeah.
and get the kids in the kitchen. This will be for the kids.
Yes.
It won't
Nice.
be every week like I do with my chef trainees, but it will be for a family one. It might be once a month or twice a month.
Mhm.
And we'll do kid-friendly, easy things where the kids don't have to use a chef knife, of course.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But I even have tips in that way, because you can buy like these bamboo kits for camping and stuff
Mhm.
that have a really good serrated edge on them. And you can hand this to a kid. They can't cut themselves, but they could open this avocado. And it's safe,
Yeah.
So there's an answer for everything. We can find ways to get the kids involved.
Yeah.
But in that course, what I would want is everyone to know about this book.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. We love
One
that
of our
one.
favorites.
Brenda Davis, and she helped design the nutrition program at Living Light, her and Vasanto Molina.
Yeah.
Her and Vasanto have many books, Becoming Vegan, Becoming Plant-Based, all these different things. And then Brenda and Reshma Shah, MD
Yeah.
from Berkeley kind of area,
Yes.
put this book together, and it's all about plant-based nutrition for kids, which there isn't enough information out there on. It is amazing.
Yes.
For anyone who has any question, they have your friends will be saying, you're going plant-based, your kids won't get enough protein, they won't get enough calcium, they won't get enough. The answers are all in here, and yes, they will.
That book also, for our listeners, Nourish, it's called, by Brenda Davis and Reshma Shah, has
Yeah.
a lot of information for each stage of the child's life, as well as it has recipes, of course.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So if you're
Yep.
interested in learning about that, definitely check out that book. It's a great one. One of our
Highly recommend that. And she's just such a cool person. I love Brenda.
Yeah.
She's just
Yeah.
awesome.
Great.
So,
So how are your kids' eating habits? Do they tend to eat more fat, sugar, or salt than you would like or is recommended? Do they seem to prefer fast foods and processed convenient products over fruits and vegetables that you can prepare at home? Do you ever struggle to create healthy meals only to have them refuse to eat them? And worst of all, does your dinner table ever turn into a battleground? If you find yourself in these situations, faced with these questions, believe me, we feel you, and you're not alone.
Wouldn't it be great if you were part of an active, well-informed, supportive community, working to transform how we feed our kids so we can make a difference for them and for the planet as a whole? Well, you can. That community actually exists.
It's a thing already.
It's Plant-Based Nutrition Movement. That's what that is. Join us and get involved. Become a member. There's no cost to join. Also, check out our Facebook page and connect with other people just like you. Join the 6 Million Seeds Coalition or launch a 6 Million Seeds project in your area. Contact us at 6mseeds@pbnm.org to get in touch or to learn more.
Desserts are always popular too with kids, and kids have sweet tooths. They just naturally do. So the kind of things that I like to show them is like no bake cookies are always a good one for the young ones. Once they're a little older, you can start making baked cookies that are healthy, but changing out the sweeteners, learning about ground chia and ground flax instead of eggs. In any cookie, it becomes easy to convert cookie recipes once you get a few basics down. Date paste instead of any brown sugar or white sugar in there. Putting oats in there to make them more fluffy and light, even if they do have a good, healthy whole grain flour, adding oats in there to make them fluffier, just things like that. But then easy bliss balls of all different kinds. And bliss balls you make in the Cuisinarts. It's an adult helping kind of thing, but they're made with the base of pecans, walnuts, different kind of nuts, and then dates or raisins and some cacao in there for chocolate ones. Or I have lemon poppy seed bliss balls. I have chocolate bliss balls. I have carrot cake bliss balls, all kinds of, and they're just fun. And then they have to sit and roll them all out, which is fun for the kids, and then roll them around in coconut coating or whatever. And they all just get stored in a big batch in the fridge. And when they come home from school, they can run in and open that. And if they grab 5 bliss balls out and eat it, all they're eating is dried fruits and dates and nuts. But it seems like a dessert to them. It seems like they're having that candy bar or whatever. But as the adult in the room, it's nothing but goodness going in there. And another great one to do with them is ice cream.
Yes.
And ice cream is so easy. And it's the easiest, most healthiest version is to always take your extra bananas when they start getting spotty, like these are, peel them down, put them in a Ziploc or an airtight container in the freezer and totally freeze them. And these you can blend down in a Cuisinart with frozen fruits of any different kind. You can make mango ice cream, you can make blueberry ice cream, strawberry ice cream, raspberry ice cream, chocolate ice cream with a banana base. And it's just the banana and the fruit. There's enough sugar in the banana, you don't need to add any sweetener.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can get more gourmet with ice creams. And the one that you experienced me teaching live in the class last week was a little more gourmet and a little more adult, although it's great for kids too, but it's a more complicated recipe. Still healthy though. But it did have some maple syrup in it as a sweetener. And this is my Jamocha almond fudge ice cream. And so we blended up almonds and some maple syrup and the chunks of almond that were put in there as a bark with a chocolate. So I showed how to make a healthy chocolate from cacao butter and cacao and make a bark. And then we blend it all together in an ice cream maker. But if you don't have an ice cream maker, you can just do it in a 9x13 glass pan. You just have to stir it a few times every few hours as it's settling. And that's the one that I'll show you here. And you can see how fun these adventures become. This is the bark that was put into the ice cream, and you can break it into pieces. And this is just healthy chocolate. It's also a great snack to make instead of buying chocolate bars with any of the crap, and so easy to make. This took minutes to make and pour into this container and put in the fridge. Then I have I'm making 2 batches of this ice cream. So then we have the ice cream batter. This is another batch of it that I have going that would go into this frozen vessel inside here and churn into ice cream. Or like I said, you could pour it into a pan like this and just put it in the freezer and stir it a little bit as it's freezing, which is, because I was taking photos of that process, the one I'm going to get out and show you. I did that too. And this one is, you can see, just in a glass pan, and it's finished and it's ready. And this is the Jamocha almond fudge. This is frozen. And then right before it started getting more solid in the freezer, go in and check it like every 40 minutes, I crumbled this up, put it in and stirred it throughout. Wow. So you have these little bits of super yummy, super decadent.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
A lot of our kids these days are showing up with different allergies, sensitivities. Nuts is a big one, coconut, tree nuts in general, peanuts, another one. What would you do instead to swap?
Okay. I've got options always.
I knew
This
you.
one is a Jamocha almond fudge, so it is almonds. You can see it's easy to then just take an ice cream scooper, and whether you're putting this on ice cream cones or just scooping it into a dish, and serving it up, boom.
I wish we were in your kitchen with you.
No
Yeah.
kidding.
This is so decadent. It's a very rich ice cream, and I don't make these all the time, but we were in this part of the chef program that she's in the class for now. We're in that gap between the winter squashes and stuff and waiting for the spring farmers market. Like, I had a friend over that has some little kids at my house not long ago, and I thought, I don't have any dessert, and then I thought, I've got frozen bananas in the freezer, so we made some chocolate shakes after dinner, and the kids were just thrilled. And so as long as you have some bananas in the freezer, you're good to go.
Right.
You're just blending them down into more of a drinkable shake in that case.
Yeah.
But this is more for special occasions. I also can take you down that path to really gourmet. I mean, I taught gourmet, vegan and raw cuisine from every ethnic part of the world. I can grab, I have some right here. This is one, hemp seeds. A lot of people forget about organic hemp seeds. Can also add a crunchiness in the background, and buckwheat. Let me grab some. And these are organic buckwheat groats, buckies. And these ones, they're in a jar because I've soaked them to the point where they're sprouting and then dehydrated them again and put them in a jar because then now they're sprouted buckwheats. But these you can eat without even cooking them. And buckwheat is a prebiotic, which feeds the probiotics in the gut. So anywhere you can sneak it in with kids or adults, it's great. So it's a great thing to use all the time, but it adds that crunchiness into something like this that the nuts were bringing, because it's all about textures and replacing the experience. When you're saying, well, I can't put almonds in there, but you could put this in there and get like a crunch bar, like the Nestle's crunch bar kind of thing going on. If you wanted some texture, sunflower seeds, hemp hearts, buckies, those kind of things is where I go in my mind. And in blending the ice cream together, it would be oatmeal. Put some oats in there instead of the almonds. You'd only had a half cup of almonds blended into this chocolate base.
Right.
That could have been oats.
Right.
And oats blend into a wonderful milk or cream as a base. So there's nut-free and or gluten-free options always available. I'm all about fitting the needs of any allergy someone has. There's always a pathway that we have. So I have nut-free ice creams that are just as good and fun without cashews, without almonds, and on the whole spectrum of nut milks. When you're showing your kids, there's also hemp heart milk. You can make hemp milk, you can make coconut milk, you can make oat milk. It doesn't always have to be nuts.
Right.
So people with nut allergies, there's totally a pathway around all of that. And any of those same things that can make a creamy nut-free milk also can be a great base for ice cream. Coconut especially.
Every now and then we can get bags of bananas, for like $1.
Yeah.
Large grocery bag full, and
Yeah.
they are, some of them are, there's some green ones, there's some you could still eat right now, but they're usually ripening along the way, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So for people who have kids and you want to maybe have enough bananas to put in the freezer and to have ready for smoothies or to make a banana ice cream like you're talking about, look in the grocery store for the bags. They're usually in the like the overflow section. I don't know. I call it the scratch and dent section. Yeah, the reduced price section.
Yep.
Look for these bags, and then bring them home, let them ripen up a bit, peel them off, put them in your container, your Ziploc bag, put them in the freezer, and you have bananas for a long time for next to no money at all.
Yeah. And I know for me, bananas, I prefer them in the greenish yellow stage. So once they start getting brown spots, I don't prefer to eat them raw, but that's perfect timing. I'll usually let them sit for a few more days and then stick them in the freezer. And I have so many other options like smoothies and, nice creams that I can use them for. So
Yes.
they don't go to waste.
Yep. I totally agree with you on that one. Whenever I see them on sale, I'm that person that puts 4 of those brown bags in my cart. And people are like, why are you
Yes.
buying so many bananas? It's like, because I have a freezer.
Yeah, why not?
Right.
And
I've got two.
they're pennies on the dollar today. And so I'm
That's right.
stocking up. You know?
That's right. That's right.
And the same thing, by the way, with, I don't know where I put it, the mango. When I see these on sale, because I love mango, but it's not cheap.
Right. When your children are eating this way, right? Eating all whole, life-giving, high nutrient density foods, it gives the body everything that it needs as much as possible, right? To keep the child healthy, keep
Yeah.
everybody in the household healthy if everybody's eating it, right? Which keeps the stress on the parent lower, makes your life easier. You're not fretting over rashes and constipation and runny noses and, headaches and all this. At least you're controlling for what you can control for. Now, there's other stuff that you can't control for. Absolutely. It's a crapshoot, a lot of it.
Yeah.
But what you can control for in the form of healthy food, eliminating the petrochemicals and the dyes and the preservatives, just eliminate that as much as possible. Stick with the plant-based foods, water. Please drink water. Give your children water to drink.
Plenty of water. Over fruit juices, I have to say. And if you are giving them fruit juice, cut it in half with water. Because concentrated fruit juice is not good. It's just too much sugar and too much on a little body. Right. And people just throw this 100% juice at these kids.
Mostly sugar and water actually is what it boils down to.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot there for a little body to run on. Not at all.
Exactly.
So I think we are about wrapped up.
I think so.
So wonderful talking to you, Chef James. You are just a the vision that comes to mind, like a fire hose of information. In the best way. Thank you so much for your energy and your time and sharing your kitchen with us. I love it. So if you want to raise healthy kids with less stress and more joy and keep them healthy along the way, this is one major way to do it. Start swap out the stuff that is not supporting their health and swap in the stuff that Chef James has been talking about today.
Yeah,
definitely. If you have questions or you need any support, anything, you got suggestions, ideas, let us know. We're at 6mseeds@pbnm.org. Like and follow, check us out. Click the bell if that's where you are so that you know when we're coming on.
And share it with everybody you know.
Yeah, we appreciate it. All right, Chef James, we're out of here.
All right. Thank you so much. This was so much fun. And it's a fantastic mission, this whole podcast and what you're doing to raise the level of awareness for everyone. And the thing about the internet is it's not even just in this country. This you can spread worldwide. Yeah. Just like I'm doing with my teachings.
That's
so
right. Likewise.
It will help spread the love. I've already told everyone in my chef course about the podcast. Mm-hmm. They all wrote it down at the end of our last class because they were talking about what was coming up this weekend. Mm-hmm. So you're going to have new people watching it, and they'll be spreading the love and getting more people into the podcast.
All right.
Yes. Well, thank you so much.
All right.
Okay.
Chef James, we'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
Hey.
Bye-bye.
Bye.